Imagine for just a moment that the government has been quietly setting aside thousands of dollars to help you stay in your home. Money that you have never been told about and that you could lose forever if you do not take action by the end of this year. And that is exactly why you need to subscribe to this channel right now, because we are going to uncover the secrets that the tax collectors never wanted you to find. You have worked too hard and paid too much into this system to let these opportunities slip through your fingers, and we are going to make sure that you know every single one of them before it is too late. We know how scary it feels when you open that property tax bill and see the numbers creeping up, eating away at the fixed income that you carefully planned for your retirement years. You have lived in the same house for decades, raised your children there, built memories in every single room, and now the thought of being priced out of your own home keeps you up at night. Maybe you are a homeowner born in the 1940s, 1950s, or 1960s, and you have started to notice that the checks you rely on every month do not stretch as far as they used to, especially when those tax bills arrive in the mail with their threatening red ink and looming deadlines. You are not alone in this feeling, and we need to talk about the truth that nobody else is telling you. Because there are programs hidden in the fine print of state legislation that could freeze your property taxes, defer your payments, and even save you from having to choose between buying groceries and keeping a roof over your head. We are going to look at what is happening right now in states like New York, Minnesota, and California, because they have recently passed or proposed laws that could change everything for you. And here is the first surprise that might just make you sit up straight in your chair. Do you know that in New York State, there is a bill that would let your local government freeze your property taxes completely if you were 65 or older, meaning that the amount you pay this year would not go up, ever, as long as you stay in your home, no matter how much the assessed value of your property rises. You heard that right, a real property tax freeze for seniors, which is not a discount, it is a total stop on increases. And while this legislation was introduced in early 2025, it has the potential to protect you from the annual shocks that have been hitting your budget year after year. Think about what that would mean for your peace of mind. Never again worrying that the tax bill will jump by hundreds of dollars just because the housing market went up in your neighborhood. You could plan your entire year around the exact amount you owe because it would stay the same every single time. The legislation specifically talks about a freeze for 1, 2, or 3 family residences, farm dwellings, and even condos or co-ops. So if you live in a cooperative or a condominium, you are still covered. And if you have to go into a hospital or nursing home for medical reasons, they do not penalize you by taking away your eligibility. That is the kind of compassionate rule that tells you someone finally understands the struggles of aging in place. But here's the catch that makes this urgent. The bill allows cities, towns, and counties to decide whether they want to offer this freeze, which means you cannot just assume it applies to you unless your local government has passed a local law adopting it. And that is where your voice comes in. The bill was introduced with the powerful justification that most seniors rely on fixed incomes like Social Security, and that annual property tax increases can be financially destabilizing, forcing you to downsize or leave the communities you helped build. So it is designed to let you age in place with dignity and financial stability. But you need to know if your local officials have acted on it yet. Now, let me tell you about something that could hit even closer to home, especially if you live in Minnesota, because they have a program that is already up and running for seniors who are 65 or older, and it lets you defer your property taxes, which is like putting your tax bill on hold while the state pays it for you. But you need to understand the exact rules, because they are changing as we speak. The Minnesota Senior Citizens Property Tax Deferral Program has been around for a while, but the legislature introduced a bill in early 2025 that modifies some of the key requirements. And this is where you need to pay close attention, because there is a dollar figure involved that could determine whether you qualify. To get into the Minnesota program, you have to be 65 years or older, or if you are married, one spouse can be 65 and the other just needs to be 62. So that makes it easier for couples where one partner is a bit younger. And here is the other big rule. Your total household income has to be under a certain limit, which in the past was around $96,000. But the new bill is changing that exact amount to something they have not fully settled yet, which means the limit could be higher and easier to qualify for. The state then looks at your total household income and sets an annual maximum property tax amount at 3% of that income, which means if you earn $50,000, the most you would ever have to pay in property taxes under the program is about $1,500, and the state would cover the rest. But the catch is that you cannot have state or federal tax liens on your home, and your total debts secured by mortgages or other liens cannot exceed 75% of your home's market value. So if you own your home mostly free and clear, you are in a great position. Now, here is the truly brilliant part of how this works. The state pays your property taxes to the local government on your behalf, and in return, they place a lien on your home, which sounds scary, but it is actually a beautiful safety net because you do not have to pay that money back until you sell the house, move out, or pass away. And at that point, it gets repaid from the sale of the property. So while you are living in your home, you get to keep that cash in your pocket every single month. This is not a giveaway. It is a loan that only comes due when you are ready to leave the house, and the interest rates are generally very low, which makes it a far better deal than taking out a reverse mortgage or a bank loan to cover your property taxes. And millions of seniors are missing this opportunity because they think they do not qualify or they have never heard of it. But we need to talk about California because they have a similar program called the Property Tax Postponement Program, and it just opened its application period for the 2025-2026 tax year. And if you are a senior, blind, or have a disability, you might be able to defer your current year taxes. And the deadline is February 10th, 2026. So you have time, but you need to act because funding is limited, and they process applications on a first-come, first-served basis. The California program is really interesting because it requires you to have at least 40% equity in your home. So if you still owe a big mortgage, this might not work for you. But if you have paid down a significant portion of your home, you are eligible. And the household income limit for this year is $55,181, which is based on your 2024 income. So if you earned less than that, you are in the running. The state controller, Malia M. Cohen, recently announced the opening of the filing period, and she emphasized that the program is designed to help seniors stay in their homes, maintain stability, and preserve the communities they helped build, which is such a powerful message because it shows that the government does recognize the contributions you have made over a lifetime of work. Last year alone, California homeowners were able to postpone over $6.8 million in property taxes, and that is real money that stayed in their pockets to pay for medications, groceries, and utilities. And the beautiful thing is that the income limit has been raised recently, so more seniors than ever before can get help with this burden. But here's the part that shocks most people. The state places a lien on your property to secure the postponed taxes, which means they have a claim against your home. But once again, that lien does not have to be paid until you sell the home, move out, or refinance, so you can live out your years in peace without the taxman breathing down your neck. And if you're worried about having to reapply every year, yes, you do need to submit an application annually, but that is actually a good thing because it means your eligibility is checked every year, and you can stay in the program as long as you continue to meet the criteria. This is the kind of program that can literally make the difference between having to sell your childhood home and staying right where you belong. And we are going to tell you exactly how to find out if you qualify and what documents you need to gather, because the paperwork is not impossible. It is just detailed. Now, let me take you on a journey into the deeper waters of this topic, because there is something else happening that is absolutely fascinating and just a little bit infuriating. And it involves how some of these programs interact with other parts of the system. Like what happens if you have delinquent taxes or a complicated family situation? For instance, in Minnesota, if you are already in the deferral program and your income suddenly goes up above the limit, you have to file an excess income certification by July 1st, which means you have to tell the state that you earned too much to stay in the program. But the bill they introduced in 2025 gives you a way to resume participation in subsequent years if your income drops back below the threshold, so you are not permanently locked out if you have a good year financially. That is so important because a lot of seniors worry that if they take a part-time job or get a bonus, they will lose their benefits forever. But these programs are more flexible than that, and the state actually wants you to know that you can reapply and get back in if your situation changes. And what about the termination of these deferrals? When your deferral ends, whether because you sell the house, move out, or pass away, the deferred taxes become due and payable within 90 days. And if you pay on time, there is no additional interest, so you do not get punished for using the program. And if you need more time, you can work with the county to set up a payment plan that fits your budget. The county auditor even records a notice of termination that discharges the lien on your property. So everything is handled cleanly and professionally, and your heirs are not left with a confusing mess to sort through when you are gone. These are the kinds of details that make these programs safe and effective for seniors, because they are designed with the understanding that you might need help today, but your family will handle the final details tomorrow. And they make the transition smooth and fair for everyone involved. There is another layer to this conversation that we cannot ignore, and it has to do with how property tax relief intersects with your overall retirement picture. Because property taxes are just one piece of a very complex puzzle that includes Social Security, Medicare, and your pension income. And when you put it all together, you start to realize that the government is not always as cruel or incompetent as the media makes it sound. But you have to be your own advocate and hunt for these benefits like a detective on a case. Think about it this way. When you claim Social Security at 62, you get a reduced benefit that stays reduced forever. But if you wait until full retirement age, or even 70, your monthly check could be significantly higher. And the same kind of logic applies to property tax deferrals, because the longer you can defer your taxes, the more cash you have on hand to cover your basic needs. And the state does not charge you interest on that deferred amount while you are alive and living in the home. So you are effectively getting an interest-free loan from the government to keep you afloat. This is the kind of financial strategy that nobody teaches you in high school or college, but it is absolutely vital to your survival in retirement. And the people who figure it out are the ones who get to sleep soundly at night, while their neighbors lie awake worrying about the next tax bill. You deserve to be one of those people, and you deserve to have a channel that tells you the truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth about how to navigate these systems, so you can stop feeling anxious and start feeling empowered. Now, the moment we have been building toward, the payoff for all this anticipation, the startling information that most people in your neighborhood will never know unless you tell them. And it is about the urgency of acting now, before these programs change or the deadlines pass you by. Did you know that in New York, the bill to freeze property taxes for seniors is not automatically law in every town? But you can go to your city council or town board meeting and demand that they pass a local law to implement it. And if enough seniors in your community speak up, you can make it happen in your own backyard. That is right. You are not just a passive recipient of what the government decides. You are an active participant in shaping your own future. And you have the power to influence your local officials by simply showing up and telling your story about how rising taxes are hurting you and your friends. And in California, the deadline for the property tax postponement program is February 10th, 2026. But funding is limited, so if you wait until the last minute, you might miss out because they run out of money, which has happened in past years. So the smart move is to apply as early as possible, preferably in October or November when the application window opens. In Minnesota, the legislative changes are being debated right now. And if you contact your state representative and tell them you support the new income limits, you could help push the bill through and make it easier for more seniors to qualify. Because politicians listen to their constituents, especially when they hear from older voters who show up at the ballot box every single time. We cannot forget the human side of all this, because behind every tax bill is a person who worked for 40 or 50 years, who sacrificed time with family to earn a living, who paid their taxes dutifully every year without complaint, and who deserves to live out their golden years in comfort and security. You are that person. Or maybe you are a spouse or a sibling who lives with a senior homeowner, and you share the burden of keeping up with the taxes and the bills and the constant pressure to make ends meet. The legislation in New York even covers siblings living together, where one sibling is 65 and the other is younger, which shows that they understand the reality of modern families, where brothers and sisters often share homes to pool their resources and take care of each other. This is not about taking handouts. This is about getting back some of the money you have already paid into the system over a lifetime of work. And it is about keeping families together in their homes where they belong, surrounded by the memories and the love that makes life worth living. So here is your call to action. And it is not a generic plea. It is a direct invitation to take control of your financial future and protect the people you love. Subscribe to this channel right now, because we are going to keep bringing you these hidden gems of information that the government does not advertise and that the mainstream media is too busy to cover. And by subscribing, you are building a community of informed seniors who look out for one another. Then share this video with your spouse, your siblings, your friends, and anyone you know who is 65 or older and owns a home, because they may not have heard about these property tax programs, and they could be leaving thousands of dollars on the table every single year while struggling to pay their bills. You have the power to change that for them and for yourself, and all it takes is one conversation, one video, one moment of awareness that sets off a chain reaction of financial relief and peace of mind. You deserve every single dollar that you have earned, and you deserve to live in your home without the constant fear of being forced out by rising taxes. And we are here to make sure that you know exactly how to do it. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and join us for the next video, where we are going to dig even deeper into the strategies that can stretch your retirement income further than you ever imagined. Because you are not alone in this fight, and we are going to win it together.